Hello, everyone. This is Trey. I'm here on this fourth day of April 2016 with my new friend Uriah. Here we have had an interaction on Xbox's thread, and we were talking about. I'm not even sure exactly what we were talking about. We came into the idea of teleology. Oh, I know. Xbox was asking about the creation of a motor and how is intelligence necessary for something to be made. But before we get started, though, I don't know you, Uriah. Could you tell me a little bit about yourself, maybe? I don't know what you do for a living, or what makes you tick here on G+. Because I've not interacted with you before. Maybe a little bit on text, but not in live interaction.
Okay, hold on. My dog's barking real quick. Hold on.
No problem.
Okay, I had to yell at my little chihuahua to stop talking.
That's fine.
Yeah, my name's Uriah. I live in Arizona, and I pretty much take care of my girlfriend. She's got some disabilities, so I help her out.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. So you're pretty much a standard in the G+ community. I see you around a lot. Have you been here a long time?
I've been mostly in comments for about a year or so.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's probably similar to me then, or maybe a little less. Okay, so I was trying to find the comment that spurred. I didn't even read a lot of these last ones. I just jumped. I don't generally do much social media on Sundays, and so I didn't even read all the ones after that. But Nick had asked for some clarification to something, and then you had commented. I'm trying to find it here. Oh, here it is. Okay, so I had said a motor is the application of parts for the purpose of existence, right? And you said not really. A motor is a collection of things that exist. This collection is then imbued with a purpose by the collector. And that's exactly right. The motor itself is a collection of parts. It has to have a collector. And if there's a collector, then there's a purpose by definition. Would you agree with that?
There would be a purpose to the collection, but not to the parts themselves.
That's right. And you said that the parts are collected, right?
Yeah, by us.
Right. So it's teleological by definition, right?
No, it's not, because the parts themselves don't necessarily have teleology.
But the putting them together, say, as in a motor, does, right? It's a collection.
No, the collection is imbued with teleology by us. It doesn't have it by necessity.
That's exactly right. But the fact that they have been assembled by somebody for a purpose necessitates teleology, right?
Right, but the way most people want to put it, that I find, is that they want to put the teleology first.
The teleology first.
Right.
All I need is one modicum of teleology, and your whole perspective falls apart.
No, that's not how it works.
Oh, really? Tell me.
You see, there's things that exist. The teleology is imbued by other things
that are personal, right?
What do you mean by personal?
Well, it's something that is volitional, something that has a goal to it.
Well, a person has a goal in using the items.
Okay, and so
that doesn't mean that the items, the matter that was that those things are put together with, doesn't mean that the matter itself was created for any reason.
Well, I'm not focusing on the material necessarily that it says. I would make that argument. That's a different argument, but that's not really what we're focusing on. We're focusing on the collection of the parts toward an end always means that there's an end, there's a goal. They had to be collected together, right?
Right. I didn't say they weren't.
And what I'm saying is that the collection itself is teleological. They were put in other words, if that motor is serving some purpose, then it is teleological by definition. And so it had to be purposed to put together for that goal by something. It's not an accident. Well, or unintended, I should say.
Right. If it's a motor that somebody put together, then they might have had a reason for that. However, the context of the discussion was talking about was talking more about intelligent design, not just and the difference between those motors.
Right. And so all I'm saying,
and what we see in like the flagellum.
Right.
So
and the flagellum serves a purpose that is moving toward ultimately toward existence. Would you agree with that?
Not towards existence. The matter already existed.
No, but it's serving a purpose, right? In a biological chain of existence.
I don't know.
Just like DNA, just like DNA replication, it's a machine, it's a motor also for the purpose of existence.
It doesn't have the purpose for existence. It already existed. Matter already existed.
But it is a machine that is used in the process of perpetuating existence. Would you agree with that?
Well, I don't see it as a machine. I see it as chemistry.
Okay, well, as a chemistry, whatever. I mean, it can be you can have biomechanical machines that work with chemistry as well. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't change the ultimate purpose of it anyway.
What purpose? What's the ultimate purpose?
Existence.
It already existed.
Uriah, when you
it exists.
Why are you having this conversation with me right now?
You wanted to have a conversation. I think that your idea of teleology is backwards.
Okay. Is there something wrong with my view?
Yeah, a thing has to exist before it's imbued with teleology.
Okay, but it is imbued with teleology. That's my whole point. I don't really care if you want to say before or after, whatever.
Right, but that does matter.
Well, sure it does. You can't have if there is such a thing as teleology. Okay.
Hold on. You just now said that you don't care, and now you're saying it matters, which means you care. You're now contradicting yourself.
I don't care when you want to post the attribute of teleology. If teleology exists at all, teleology exists necessarily, and motors are an expression of that teleology. That's my point.
Okay. Did the motor is it possible that the motor did not exist?
Yes, the motor itself is not necessary. No, I didn't say the motor was necessary. I said the teleology is necessary.
But if the motor is not necessary, then there's no reason for the purpose for it to be necessary either. So the purpose is not necessary.
No, you're conflating concepts here. You're not conflating. Contingency is not necessity. Now, the motor in itself is contingent, and it doesn't necessarily have to be. It's dependent for its existence. But in order for there to be teleology, it has to be necessary. It has to be that it could not be, because if it's possible for teleology to not be, then you have to violate the law of identity and say that unintentionality gave rise to intentionality, which is nonsense. It violates the law of identity.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. So unintentionality is not unintentionality. Unintentionality is intentionality in your world.
No. Now you're trying. You see, this is where you're getting things backwards.
Okay. How so?
Okay. Let's start out like this. What's the purpose of a hydrogen atom?
A hydrogen atom. The purpose. Well, the fact that it exists shows that it must be valuable. Otherwise, it would not be. Now, what the purpose of it is. Pardon me?
Why?
That which is contingent, by the word of definition of contingency, it is dependent upon that which gives it existence in order to be. So therefore, it had to come in. Well, I would say it's God. God is the only thing that can make any sense out of, which is necessary. A necessary God is necessary for contingency to exist, because contingency could not exist unless a necessary being gave it its ontology. That's what contingency means. Because that's what the word means. Contingency doesn't mean, it definitionally means that it is. I'm sorry?
So you're just making a tautology of it is what it is.
No, it's an analytic argument.
No, no, you just said it's tautology.
Well, I am saying causality is tautological.
I'm not talking about causality.
Argument. I'm sorry?
I'm not necessarily talking about causality.
Well, I am. And that's what I'm saying. Contingent, that's what the principle of causality is, just an extrapolation. It says contingent existence does not exist unless necessary existence gives it its existence. It's logical corollary. Because something cannot be and not be at the same time in the same relationship.
That has nothing to do with that. We're talking about, if you're talking about causality, right, then the effect of the cause has nothing to do with the identity of the cause.
The identity of the cause must necessarily be self-existent. That's a logical corollary to it.
No. Show me.
I just did. It's a law of non-contradiction.
That's not the law of non-contradiction. The law of non-contradiction is specifically, it is false that it is false. It is not the case that A and not A. That is the law of non-contradiction.
At the same time and in the same relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, but in propositionally, it's basically not quantity A and not A. It can be derived from the law of identity. So the law of non-contradiction is derived from the law of identity, because we take A implies A, and then we use the rule of material implication. That gives us not A or A. Then from that we use De Morgan's theorem, which gives us not A and not A. So it's derived from identity. It has nothing. Law of non-contradiction is irrelevant. We just derive it.
Do you derive it necessarily?
No, because we can say something's undeterminate depending on which logic you use.
Okay, give me a logic where something can be and not be at the same time in the same relationship.
Mathematics is 0 equals 3, positive 3, and negative 3.
Okay, is 0 a concept?
0 is a place on a number line.
Okay, and so 0 equals negative 3 is what you're saying?
No, 0 equals 3 and negative 3.
Okay, I don't understand that. How can you explain it to me?
It's basic mathematics.
0 equals 3 and negative 3?
Right.
You mean 3 and negative 3 cancel each other out to be 0?
Yeah.
And that violates the law of non-contradiction?
Well, it's basically, it would be a true statement to have you replace that with the logical correlates. Wouldn't it be A and not A equals 0?
No. That's the same. How could you say that somehow that is something is and is not at the same time in the same relationship? No, not at all.
But it equals 0.
Try another one.
Okay.
I've not found anybody, Uriah, that can do this without just playing word games.
It's not a word game. We know it works. It's critical.
It's not a violation of law of non-contradiction.
I didn't say it was a violation of law of non-contradiction. I'm saying it's law of non-contradiction.
You gave an example of a different kind of math. I mean, a different kind of logic that violates the law of non-contradiction.
Right, because math doesn't have the law of non-contradiction as an axiom. So it can't violate an axiom.
Well, sure it does. Mathematics is just the symbolic logic.
Have you looked have you looked at the axioms of mathematics?
No, show them to me. I'm not a educated guy. Go ahead, give me some instruction.
Okay. Well, first thing, we have. I mean, really, I don't have the bandwidth to screen share or anything, but look at a textbook. Seriously, the law of non-contradiction, the only thing it has is A equals A. That's like the first axiom.
A law of non-contradiction equals A is A equals A?
No. The first law and the first axiom in mathematics is identity. A equals A.
Right.
So 1 equals 1.
Right.
2 equals 2. Now, if you take, for example, 1 equals 1, right? Which is A equals A.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happens if you say add 1 to 1?
Becomes 2.
Well, now we just define another number as 2, and we define that as 1 plus 1.
Right.
So it's just analytically from A equals A, B equals A plus A.
Yeah.
And we have a 0, which is A plus not A, or negative A.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's true that 0 equals A and not A.
No, when you're saying 0 is the conclusion of A plus non-A, or a negative, a positive plus a negative equals 0 of the same thing. That does not violate the law of non-contradiction, Uriah.
I didn't say it violated the non-contradiction. I said it is where the law of non-contradiction does not apply because it's not a contradiction. It's not a law. It's not a law. Therefore,
negative 3 and positive 3 could there's no logical relationship to those when you put them together mathematically.
No, they have a logical relationship. They become 0. They're defined as 0.
But are they also not 0 at the same time in the same relationship? Think about it. It's not that difficult.
What would that be?
Well, I don't know. You're saying the law of non-contradiction doesn't apply. Well, how do you know then what it is?
But that's,
in other words, you're appealing to law of identity. I'm sorry?
Right. It becomes the law of identity, but identity is the axiom we're starting with. We haven't even gone into the law of non-contradiction. And
because of the law of identity, it cannot be its negation, which is the law of non-contradiction, right? In other words, 0 can't be non-zero.
Something else. But what would that even mean? Because that would be against the law of identity. We don't need the law of non-contradiction because we have the law of identity.
Well, the law of identity and law of non-contradiction are walking hand in hand in this conversation necessarily.
Well, as I showed you, the law of non-contradiction is derived from the law of identity.
Well, I think they both work together.
It's derived from the law of identity.
Well, I don't. Maybe so. I mean, but they're inextricably linked. You cannot separate them and say one applies and the other does not apply, because you need the law of non-contradiction in order to say the law of identity is. That's the whole point.
But you don't need the law of non-contradiction to say that something is something else.
At the same time in the same relationship, indeed you do. That's what the law of identity is doing right now. Is 0 non-zero at the same time in the same relationship? No, you're saying no. Law of identity says 0 is 0.
No, 0 is 3 and negative 3.
Right, which is a tautological statement, which is analytically correct. And what is it true also that negative 3 and positive 3 are not 0 at the same time as well?
What's that?
Are positive 3 and negative 3 0, not 0 at the same time as well when you made that statement?
Well, why would we represent it in some other way?
Well, then you're appealing to the law of non-contradiction. Are you familiar with the principle of explosion?
Yes, yes, because it means that if it basically
That's
means
why you're balking right now.
No, I'm
You're
just
saying, well,
saying.
yeah, you've got a point there.
I'm just saying that there's an instance where we have as a true statement A and not A, which would be
and the reason you're saying it's true is because of the law of non-contradiction, right?
No, that wouldn't be the law of non-contradiction.
So it can't be just anything. You have a specific definition and its opposite is not true, right? That's the law of non-contradiction.
We say 0 equals 3 and -3 is true. That would be a true statement.
Is it also true that 3 and -3 does not equal 0?
But that's not the law of non-contradiction.
Indeed, it is.
No, that isn't. How? No. That would be the law of excluded middle.
Well, we're not saying it's not something else, but no, actually, it would be the law of excluded middle. I mean, that could apply, but I'm saying it's opposite.
It is. No, you are. It's because the law of excluded middle also derived from identity. Also derived from identity is A or not A.
Right. And it's also the non-contradiction, right? It's not its opposite as well.
No, that's a different derivation from identity.
Okay. All right. So I don't know where else to go here. Do you agree that there is such a thing as identity? I mean, as a purpose in this universe. Do you agree with that, Uriah?
With what conscious animals imbue with it? Imbue.
Okay, and are those conscious animals necessary?
No.
Okay, then where does this teleology come from?
From conscious animals.
So you don't see the circular argumentation there?
No, you went circular.
No, I'm linear. I'm acting linear.
No, that was not linear. You started with purpose. You said it was necessary, and I just said no.
Yes, my epistemological argument is I say I know that there is such a thing as purpose, but I know that unintentionality is not intentionality. Therefore, there must be a necessary intender.
No, because necessary doesn't apply there. Necessary is not in your premise. Necessary wasn't even in your premise.
In my premise, which says that teleology exists, that is, you're right, it does not have necessity, and it has contingency. In other words, contingent teleology exists. Contingent teleology cannot exist without necessary teleology. Therefore, necessary teleology exists.
Why?
Because the law of identity. Unintentionality is not intentionality.
We didn't say anything about unintentionality. Now you're adding new stuff to the premises that weren't in there before.
I'm saying unintentionality, intentionality is the same as teleology, non-teleology for this argument.
Right.
Does that make sense?
We imbue things with purpose.
Right. And where does our imbuement come from in us?
From us. From us.
And where does it come from? Before you were born, because you're not eternal, right?
Right. Anything that I imbue with a purpose, I couldn't have imbued before I was born. So therefore, whatever that collection would have been if I had not been born, would not have been imbued with that purpose.
Okay, so where did the purpose come from that you acquired?
From my conscious mind?
So unintentionality intended your conscious, intentional mind. You see the law of identity? There's a problem there.
Whatever that means, because that doesn't make any sense. Break those words down.
You're exactly right. It doesn't make sense.
No, your words aren't making sense because we're not talking about unintentionality doing something. We're saying that. No.
Were you something? Were you something? Are you a motor?
I wasn't something before I was something. I was something before. I was matter.
Were you intentional before?
No, I was particles.
Okay, So you were a bunch of particles, and something put you together into a motor that intends, right?
No, I'm not necessarily a motor. I'm a human being.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing. You've got a collection. You've got composite creatures that are put together with teleology, right?
No, they weren't put together with teleology.
Okay, so unintentionality, intended intentionality in making you, right?
That doesn't make any sense. You're not making sense
I
here.
know
You're
it's
not
stupid. I
word
know
right. You're not using the word
it's called
right.
law of identity.
No, that's not what it is. You're saying, look, you're fundamentally messing up. You can't intend for something until it exists.
Okay,
Okay, you have to have the material there to make
that's exactly right.
put together, and then you intend for that thing to do.
So the composite being was put together by something, right? You agree with that, right?
Oh, it was put together by biology.
Okay, and biology has a mustache and wears glasses, but he doesn't intend things.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know.
What does that have to do?
Biology is not efficient. Biology is just a description of what you see. Biology didn't put you together so you could intend things.
I didn't say it did, but
Something did, right?
Me being able to attend things emerged out of this collection.
Would emerge? That's the magic word.
It's not a magic word. It's an emergent. It's an emergent. Just like wetness. Wetness is an emergent property of hydrogen and oxygen being together.
So some people say God just is, and you say my teleology just is.
No, I'm saying things just are, and I imbue them with teleology.
Well, yeah, but you're assuming the conclusion in your premise. Teleology exists. Well, did you happen? Was there a time when you did not exist?
What does happen mean?
Occur. Did you occur? Were you born?
Do I occur?
Did you occur?
Did you actually look up the definition that I was showing you?
I did not.
You know the definition says to occur by accident.
Do you know what accident means? Do you know what accident means, Uriah? What? Tell me.
Yeah, unintentional.
Huh?
So if you agree that I happened...
No. Accident does not mean unintentioned. Accident means intention gone wrong. Something intended something and it didn't go the way it was designed.
Really?
Yes.
Let's look that up.
I'm not even going to look it up. I'll let you do it.
Look that up. Merriam-Webster. A sudden event that is not planned or intended and that causes damage or injury. An event that is not planned or intended. An event that occurs by chance.
Oh, okay. So you want to say that accident does not entail any teleology at all.
According to the definition that I'm reading, no, from Merriam-Webster.
Okay.
So if we happen by chance, if happen means to occur by chance, then there's no teleology.
Okay. So which definition did you read to me?
I read the simple definition of accident on Merriam-Webster.
Okay, simple definition.
We go to the full definition that says 1A, an unforeseen and unplanned event or circumstance. 1B, lack of intention or necessity, chance. 2, an unfortunate event resulting especially from carelessness or ignorance. B, an unexpected or medically important bodily event, especially when injurious. To C, an unexpected happening causing loss of injury which is not due to any fault or misconduct on the part of the person injured, but for which legal relief may be sought. To D, used euphemistically to refer to an involuntary act or instance of urination or defecation.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, here's the deal. If you want to define it as something, if you want to define accident as unintentionality,
that's not how I want to define it. That's how it's used.
No, it's also used as a mishap, something that was intended. It didn't go. I had an accident. That means that I didn't intend to do this. It went in a way that I was not expecting. So if you want to say that there is no, if you want to equate unintentionality and intentionality, that's fine, but you're violating the law of identity.
I'm not equating it. I'm saying something that happens.
You're saying that happens by accident, right?
That's not planned or intended.
That's right. So unintentionality gives way to intentionality, right? It intends that which is not intended.
You're conflating what can occur later with what has occurred in the past. You're changing the circumstances. An event that is not planned or intended. That's what accident is. That's what it means to happen by chance, to happen.
Okay, anyway. I think we've kind of covered what we need to talk about. Unless you have something else you want to talk about.
So, I mean, that's why when something happens, it doesn't necessitate teleology. So if you're going to continue to say that things that we happen, it doesn't need to be intended.
Yeah, well, you're just giving me a magic story. I mean, it doesn't impress me.
No, I gave you the definition.
I am saying,
nothing to do with that
I don't care about your definition. It means nothing. If you want to say it's unintentionality, that's fine. You're still violating the law of identity. And I feel like I'm just talking to a wall here.
No, I'm not violating the law of identity.
Yeah, I know.
You're not understanding it.
Yeah, I'm not smart enough to gain your genius.
It just has to do when you say something happens, you're saying it's an occurrence by chance, which means it's unintended.
Can you hold on a second, Uriah?
Okay.
Hold on, please. Sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah, but when something happens, it's unintended, according to the definitions.
Okay. Is there something else you want to talk about? I need to get back to work.
Okay. Just want to let you notice to actually start looking up the words you're using, because people are complaining that when you put the word when people look at the definitions of the words you're using, what you say does not make sense.
Okay, I'll try to use the dictionary better.
Okay.
All right, it was nice meeting you, and I'm sure we'll talk again, okay?
All right.
Okay, see you later. Oh, I think he's gone. All right, see y'all later, people.